Hello, everyone. Very exciting day. I'm Jani Mikael Kuusista. I'm the CEO of Ynvisible Interactive Incorporated. And it is my honor to have the chance to host to you today this live stream from here in Almada, Portugal. We're a 15-minute drive south of Lisbon, the capital, in our new facilities, our new production line, our customer training facility. And today has been our opening day, and I'm delighted that we had this chance to broadcast to you around the globe scenes and sights from today's opening, and also to get a chance to introduce you to our new facilities, our team, our technology. So I warmly invite you into Ynvisible. This company has earlier been operating the production line in a book print house, in the corner of a book print house. And with the listing of our company at the beginning of this year into the Toronto Stock Exchange Venture List, we've taken the funds raised and we've started to expand our operations. And it's a glorious day to have this big facility. I want you to introduce you to Ines Enriques, PhD, one of the founders of this company, and the woman that has truly built and led this great company. Hi, Ines.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yes. You've been here, Ines, from day one, from that moment when you're thinking about a company name. Tell our audience a little bit about where the Ynvisible name comes from.
Well, that's a really interesting question. And I would say that from the very beginning, this was a vision-driven company, a vision-driven project. And we really believed that we could embed interactivity and intelligence into everyday objects. And so we wanted people to interact with these new intelligent objects in a natural way. So technology, for that to happen, technology has to be integrated in a seamless, invisible way. That's really where the name came from.
Yeah, and let's actually show the slide, if you could put up the slide with the vision and the mission statement. So really, all along, our vision has been to bring everyday objects, surfaces to life in this increasingly digitalized world. But it's been looking at it from the human perspective. You know, these cross-sections between the digital and the physical world, making this technology in a way that it's more comfortable, more natural, more practical for humans to use.
Exactly, Yanni.
So the technology we'll be looking at later. And it's a printed technology. It's a printed electronic technology that is ultra low power consuming. And it really displays content to human beings. And I think the best way to really describe what we're doing is look at some examples. And Ines, can you show a little bit what can be done with this technology?
Yes, so first I would say that there is, our main focus area at the moment is in labels and smart labels. That's really the easiest way to start embedding these added functionalities and intelligence into everyday objects and products. So what I'm going to show you is actually a smart label that incorporates our display technology. In this case, we have a one-time use label. And the display is connected to a sensor that actually senses movement. And what it does is really indicate if this package has been properly handled or not. If the package drops, this display will turn black, and that message cannot be erased. So it really will indicate that that package has not been properly handled. This will be a little noisy, so be prepared.
The little ones in the audience?
Yes. Here we go. So, from an invisible, transparent state into a clear message that indicates this package has been dropped. Okay, and the same way we have this display coupled to a movement sensor, we could have it coupled to any type of sensor, like temperatures or timers or other sensors like that.
Yeah, and that graphic printed interface is really intended to be easy to read. I mean, we're used to seeing printed graphics all around us, and it's a very natural approach. I'll take this opportunity to show this type of label. This is actually an RFID tag, and on top of the RFID tag, our display has been printed directly onto the same label. And what this demonstrates is the ultra-low power nature of our technology. You have the RFID chip, which is powered wirelessly with the reading device. It could be your smartphone. And while that phone is waking up the chip, simultaneously it's activating and it's coloring the display, really demonstrating how low power this technology is. Now, labels is where the business is really starting, but more and more it'll go into the products themselves. And you have a great example here with the activity tracker.
Yes, so here's a wearable device that actually measures how active you've been. So it's a segmented display that has been embedded into this product through an in-mold process, and that's really important to show, because this means that our technology has been proven to be integrated into other types of polymers and materials. And so in this case, as the activity increases, the number of segments will be highlighted. Okay, so it's another example of these segmented displays and how they can be used, also coupled to a sensor.
I'd like to give some shout-outs to some partners, the Decochrome project partners, including VTT, with whom we've been working on this topic. Really, the nice thing about this is that a digital display doesn't always have to have digits. It can have hearts. You can imagine you having a bracelet, and the more you move, the more hearts appear, the more color changes on the wristband. So really bringing communication power with color changes. And here we get to a massive opportunity, which is in fact the wide printed industry. The amount of products in our everyday lives that are printed goes actually beyond human comprehension. It's a technology that we don't even consider a technology because it's everywhere. Most of the furniture we buy these days, the top covers of it are printed graphics. And we are working towards bringing those surfaces to life. Now, we're having this live stream today because we're truly grateful to all our partners, our clients, investors who believed in us, and we're having a big celebration here today. And since not all of you could join in person, at least you'll have a chance to see a little bit of today's activities. Ines, can you tell a little bit about what happened here just a little while back?
Yes, so this morning we actually had the mayor of the city of Almada here, as well as the ambassador of Finland, and many other people. There were about 60 people in total, people that were connected with the company in the past, that were important for our story, and that will certainly help you from now on as well. So it was very exciting and really a big celebration. And we do need to have moments like this, right? This is a big milestone.
Yes, bigger machines, bigger business. And I have to have a little...
The future is invisible, by the way, yes.
I have to say a little disclaimer. As a recently listed company, we're still learning to say this. Some of these talks contain forward-looking statements. You know, we can't all predict the future. But anyway, you can sense the excitement now that we're increasing our capacity. All right. I'm going to move upstairs. We're going to be speaking with Carlos, our CTO, looking at the technology a bit. But while I transition there, if you could please run the film, the footage from earlier in the day, to see what the celebrations were like. And we'll come back to Ines a bit later, and you'll be introducing the new production line.
Yes, we'll come back live. Don't go away.
Let's go. All right, so we're back live here. I've come up to the office. I want to start by saying that live situation, I completely forgot to say in the beginning, do send us your questions through the YouTube channel there, or send the email to us. We'll get the address soon. I'm here in Almada, like I said, right next to Lisboa. Our company headquartered in Vancouver, and we come to our CTO, Carlos Pinheiro, PhD. You've come here today from Freiburg in Germany. Hi, Carlos.
Yes, I came actually yesterday evening, so.
All right. He's a very punctual, precise guy about everything. Yeah, the right type of person. It was actually Carlos's work, your PhD work, that started all this technical developments. And we decided to have a short session to give a quick overview of the technology that we are commercializing. Before we look at the technology, just briefly said our organization. Here in Portugal, we have our hub, our team for customer projects. We have our designers. We have our production line, which we'll be looking at next. This is where we work with the clients. Now that we're offering a full system solution, the smart label solution. In Freiburg, we announced earlier this year that we opened our inks development and commercialization lab, and obviously Central Europe being a very, very central place for this kind of chemical industry and scaling up the inks. Ultimately, our business, when we grow big, will be in the inks. The magic inks, if you may, circuit formulas. And yes, and this is the guy developing them. So let's begin by if we show first the address where you can send your questions. So if you pan the camera there. So YouTube in the section below there, We have, like said, you can also send questions via email. And let's point to the guy that is actually reviewing them, Jarno Vehmas. He's our head of design, coming from Lapland, Finland, joining our team here in Portugal. Worked with printed electronics, designing products with them for 17 years, I believe. All right, but let's discuss the technology. So, Carlos, you've prepared 3 slides for us to explain.
Yeah, some slides, so if you can also take some shots of the slides we will be using as a support. So, what I want to do is to talk you through the technology very briefly. For example, here Jan is wearing one of our product demonstrators that uses our technology, which demonstrates actually quite a lot of novelties in the electrochromic and hybrid electronics integration. So let me start explaining what is actually an hybrid system and a smart label composed of. As you can see here, this is a shot of plastic film where actually we start working with to print our functional materials, functional layers. So actually to make it work, we have several components that have to be integrated on the same surface. You can see we have printed circuitry, which actually is the network that connects all the modules in the system. We have our printed electrochromic display, which is printed on the same substrate, so the connection between the network, electrical network, and the display, it's automatically made by the printing and the registration of the different materials on the same spot. We have some intelligence, which today is still not fully printed, so these are based on conventional electronics, but there are companies which we are collaborating with, like Pragmatic Printing in the UK, which are doing major steps in order to develop these intelligent electronics into a thin film factor, and also later on maybe also to be printed. And finally, we have some sort of power supply. Here again, we also cooperate with several companies which are developing as well printed batteries. So I have some examples. These are all partners we have collaborated with in the past. So you can actually imagine that also the battery could be printed just like the display, side by side on the same substrates. And so that at the end you have a fully printed functional system. As well, we have, as power supply, you can also actually use a batteryless system, which is based using the radio waves energy, like RFID systems or NFC systems, which are nowadays fully spread, for example, using our phones, which are equipped with NFC systems. So basically, we could have and power this system using radio waves energy, which are spread all over around us, ourselves. This is an example, yeah.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out. This is actually taken from some work that we did with Belgian printed electronics company Quad Industries, in which the electrochromic display was printed in conjunction with the RFID printing.
Yeah. So, as you see, there are many different components that has to be brought together in order to have a functional system, and this is where we have specialized ourselves as well, is to bring to our customers actually a functional solution and not just delivering components. However, our specialty is actually on the electrochromic display, and now I will just try to give you more detail on the electrochromic display technology, which is also fully printed system based on organic materials that are formulated into ink format. This is actually where most of our value and competitive advantage is on the chemistry and the secrets that are behind the formulation of those chemistries into ink, so that they can be later on printed, and you will have at the end you have some shots on the production facilities where actually these displays are printed. So we have here exploded view of the electrochromic device. We start with the thin film, can be plastic. Then we print silver inks, which create this electrical network. We print one of our secret formulas, which is the electrochromic electrode material, which is the one that creates the visual image at the display. It's coated with an electrolyte layer, which is the second secret formula from our developments. And finally, it's covered with just a plastic film to protect the system. And so as you see, this is all printed on the same substrate, on top of each other, creating the connections during the printing. So there's no need to have additional interconnections later on, which creates a very robust and high throughput process to produce these fully assembled and functional systems.
You have some more samples here in terms of what the display looks like, just a bare display.
Yeah, so this is just one bare display. So you can see, let's say it's flexible, can be transparent, can be made of opaque substrate. So yeah, and it's basically what it is integrated inside this activity tracker that I think you have explained already how it works.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. So this is about the electrochromic display, and again, so our major value here is on the chemistry and the inks, and this is also where I'm very busy at the German lab in Freiburg. It's actually to scale up these inks into larger scale production for later on technology transfer. And also we do monitorization of new chemistries, and we are tracking and assessing those new chemistries to enlarge the palette of materials we can offer in our commercial solution.
And we have some great partnerships on that, but let's leave those for the future. I do want to highlight something. There's a lot of talk about plastic, obviously. Now we primarily print onto plastics, but we've also worked with other materials like paper as well as the substrate, making these more and more disposable. Do you want to allude to that work?
Yeah, so basically, starting here, we can, of course, go into a label format quite quickly. So this has been, let's say, our main aim is to be able to integrate this on a label format that can be used as a smart label. But of course, we are also looking to spread this technology into our everyday environment. And for that, we need to think on integrating these smart systems into ubiquitous materials like plastic. So like this one, it's a good example. So we have integrated the entire hybrid system into a plastic casing using injection molding techniques, which is actually an industrial technique used to create most of the plastic parts you can find around you. Watches and whatever. If you find plastic, it has been overmolded with injection molding, and this is actually quite a unique first public demonstration of overmolding electrochromic systems with hybrid electronics and being operational at the end. So it was a quite successful project together with VTT.
And the Decochrome partners?
Yes, Decochrome partners. Other surfaces and materials we are working in with a major producer in Portugal, Sonai. It's actually Thermo Laminates. This is something that people may not know, although they touch it every day in their lives, such a substrate. An example of Thermo Laminate here, so if you can just take a picture of this door. So this is actually not wood. This is printed paper, faking wood, which is made, as I said, with several layers of paper, which are then laminated using a special technique that creates a very sturdy surface, which is used not only in doors, flooring, tables, even chemical bench are using this surface. Yeah, just to demonstrate how it's made actually. So this is all composed by special paper, where we actually can bring our electrochromic inks inside, and after the lamination, you have this very sturdy material which has inside an electrochromic visual system that can be used for multiple purposes in our daily lives. So this has been also done in collaboration with the university here in Caparica, with the professor Cesar and Jorge, and also with Sonai Industria, which is one of the world leaders, producers of this material. So yeah, I think
you covered a lot, and there's a lot coming out in the future. Designers are already working on ideas of how to integrate this into floorings, into furniture, but our business starts with the label. And the facilities that were now launched here is really geared towards getting these label products out there. Yeah. So next, what we'll do is we'll give you a rundown of what we have in our new production facility. Full disclosure though, wait, just before we go, Jarno, are there any questions for us to answer at this point? Not at this point. So please do send us. This is a live session. We'd love to have questions. I can come up with questions to answer myself, but it would be better to come from you. So, full disclosure, the next sect we recorded a bit earlier. We do have some confidential information in terms of our setup, and we had to have some control of the camera angles. But just fresh from our new production line, which we get to see right here. Guys are still busy on the floor. But yeah, let's go to the production line. All right. Exciting moment for everyone in our company. Giving you a first introduction to our new production and customer training facility. Before going into the facility with all the machine noise, a quick review of the primary purposes of this site. So this site here in Portugal acts as our primary hub for delivering to client projects. This is where we do our sheet-to-sheet based production and sheet-to-sheet printing developments. And then, very importantly, this facility acts as a location where our clients and our partners can come to learn how to print with our proprietary electrochromics and thereby start the transition of the technology into their own facilities. But without any further ado, let's start the tour. All right, so welcome. And hello, Ines again. Nice to see you again. So, how do you feel on this day, launching our new facility?
Exciting. It's really exciting. I can tell you that.
So, we'll give an overview of what we have in this facility. The machines are running. There will be some noise, but luckily not too noisy. So, what's the first step in producing printed electrochromics?
Well, the first thing you have to do is really design what you want to produce. So the product that you want to work with, right? And after that design step, and there's a lot of rules that go into designing with electrochromics, and of course we have all the know-how that we can pass on to other designers in the world, including the ones that belong to our clients' teams. But yes, after that design step, we have to pre-produce or pre-cut some of the materials, and that takes place here. We have a new cutting machine that basically, it's where we prepare all the materials before production. So all the substrates, the spacers, and things like that. All right, so this is our cutting machine, brand new.
Yes. And Lucia, can you come over here and say hi?
Hello, everyone.
So this
is Lucia Gomes.
Yes, this is Lucia, and many of you will recognize her from all our email exchanges, web conferences, and some of you have met her in person. Lucia heads all our customer projects. So, how do you feel about moving into this new facility?
Well, very excited. Having new machines and bigger machines, it's possible to produce more and increase our capacity and increase and improve the quality of the printings and the quality of our devices as well. Of course, it's great.
Lots of work for you.
Yes, yes. It's great.
Yes. All right. So here we have a workstation for all the design processing. Behind us over here, we also have then another facility, which we're not allowed to enter. Ines made an executive decision that we not go in there. And please tell what's behind that door and why we're not allowed to go.
So this is actually the stairs to the basement. So there's a whole area of space downstairs where we actually undertake a lot of confidential work for our clients. That's where all the quality control takes place, the integration of different components into the final solution takes place. And so because of that confidentiality, we're not going to take you there today. But of course, if you become a client, we'll have all the pleasure to take you and teach you all about our technology.
Alrighty. So After the design phase, obviously, we come to the exciting printing part of it, and everything begins with the inks. And why is this inks part so important to us?
Well, because that's where actually the secret lies. Our devices are basically multi-layer structures, and what we're doing is printing different layers of different inks to make it work in the end. So the preparation of the ink is the first step in before the printing, and so we have to make sure it works well so that the printing goes smoothly. Yeah.
So let's go and introduce you to Liliane. Hi, Liliane.
Hi,
So what is it that you're doing here?
we are doing the measure of the electrolyte viscosity, and over here we are same time we are mixing the ink for putting the films.
Yes. Yeah, and as you can see from this setup, very common equipment to any print house. How is it working with these inks? I notice that you're not wearing a mask.
Because I have this, so
Okay.
I don't need it, and the ventilation protects us. But normally, if when you're transport, you need use another protection.
Yes. Yes. But again, to highlight that the difference with our inks compared to common graphical inks is not all that huge.
No, exactly. So these are very special inks, but in fact, the way they are printed and cured is exactly the same as conventional inks. Just the chemistry of it is very different. But in fact, our facility is not very different from a common print house, and we don't even have a controlled environment or clean room conditions. So that's an important property of this process and this line, because it means we can transfer it all over the world.
Exactly. So let's take a look at the type of equipment we have here in our facilities. And certainly we've now bought bigger equipment, bigger capacity to be able to address higher volume orders. But Ines, can you say a few words about our printing process?
Well, let me first just point to these two machines here. These used to be our old printing and curing machines. These used to be in our previous pilot line. And of course, as you can see, they were very limited in terms of both the quality of the printing that we could reach and the volume of the output. And now,
But I want to stop here and highlight the fact that we have been manufacturing with this equipment in a print house. Our partner here in Lisbon, GID, excellent partner to work with in a real printing environment. But the capacity there was too small, and we needed the room to grow, to house this new equipment.
absolutely, yes, yes. And so these are still here because they can work as a complement to our new machines. On this side, we have a new screen printer, which is fully automated. What that means is that it makes the registration steps much easier. The output of sheets is much higher, so we can print a lot more devices per hour than with our previous machine. After we print the sheets, and by the way, this is a sheet-to-sheet process, so we do process the devices into sheets, and then at the end, cut the individual devices from the sheets that are the result of the process. So after the printing, we have the machines going to the curing step. So we have this belt dryer that cures the ink that are printed over there.
It's a thermal curing process. Before we walk away from Wilson, I want to introduce Wilson to you. We have a silver medalist on our team. What's the silver medal for?
It was for aero skills, and I participated in offset printing.
So he's a champion printer, but to print with our technology, you don't need to have silver medals. Any print house can easily learn this, or? Or do you read? Does everyone need a champion level printer like
No,
you?
it's very simple.
Yes.
It's very simple. Print this.
Yeah. We need the champions because we're perfecting the process and getting to thinner layers. But yes, let's move on ahead.
Right.
So, thermal curing.
Yes, so we have our oven here where we cure the inks that are printed previously. And then after that, we actually have a coating step, which we are not showing you. That's our secret step with our secret formula, our electrolyte. And so we have a coating step followed by a UV curing process. And in the end, this is the result that we get. We get sheets of devices that we can then take the individual displays from, okay?
Correct. And actually here at this table we have Ida.
Hi, hello.
So Ida has been working us from the very beginning. She manages this production line, runs a very tight ship here. What are you two doing here at this light table?
In this moment, I'm checking the electrochromic films after printing and dry steps and prepare other materials for the different steps, the next steps.
Yes. And what's a bit different from this, if you compare what we're doing here and normal graphics printing, what's one of the big differences?
That's a good question. Basically, we may have a few additional steps because we use more than one substrate. We use two substrates, a bottom and a top substrate. And we use a mix of processes that are used in the graphics industry. Not only the printing and the curing, but also lamination, cutting, etc. So.
Yeah, and we're printing conductive surfaces, so...
What you're printing is different.
Yeah, and of course, visual inspection is not enough, yes. Finally, there was one disturbing sight here. A guy in production line with his tie on. Never do that. Don't do that at home or your production facility. But
Thank you for the public warning.
who are you?
Mikko Keränen.
Yes, Mikko, he's responsible for our production engineering, scaling up the sheet-to-sheet process, and then going towards roll-to-roll. And this is something that we're developing right now in the company. Say a couple of words about going into high-volume production. What kind of topics are we dealing with?
Well, there is several small topics you have to tackle on our way to the millions and millions of production amounts. So it's not very easy task, but I think that we can find our way.
And he's a chemist by background, so it's really about understanding the chemistry. and you're forgiven for the tie because I'm here too. So it's a special occasion. That's why we're dressed like this. Normally not allowed. All right.
Also not be wearing a dress normally.
All right. I think we're almost finished.
Yes.
We still have the final step in the production, taking those sheets that have been prepared and processing them further. This machine probably is going to be a bit loud.
Yes. Lucia, can you turn it on?
So Ines, tell us, what do we see here?
We are basically seeing the machine cutting individual displays from a big sheet that was previously processed in the other machines.
Yes, and here in the corner you'll see our giveaway demonstrator that was given to all the visitors here today. And this is what the display looks like at the end of the process.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you, Ines. Thank you, all the team. Let's go answer some final questions. So, follow me. All right. So that was our production line, and we're back fully live. It's the 20th of September, plus 28 degrees here. Finnish man like me, boiling. But This is our roof. This is, Carlos says, this is the place where we come and close contracts. No, this is a nice, relaxing place. And if you could give a quick view to our surrounding neighborhood. As said, we're in the district of Charneca de Caparica in Almada. Yeah, I don't pronounce it always correctly. But you get a park right next door, great swimming hall as well. You have some residential area, some industry like us here today. All right, so finally closing, coming to an end. I think it's time that we really looked at those questions. So Jarno, can you come over here and tell us what's been happening? I hope we got some.
Yeah, anyway, thank you for your comments. I had to say that really appreciate that all the thumbs and positive sharing that we got with via that YouTube. But we actually got also a couple of questions to the email. So I will try to take this. So the first, who are actually our customers?
That's actually a great question. So today, our customers, we primarily deal with consumer brand owners. These are companies who are embedding intelligence into their products. Like I said, there's a lot of sensors and logic chips that are being embedded into everyday consumer goods. And when these products need a visual human interface that is ultra low power consuming, we work with these globally known brand owners. At this point, these relationships are confidential. The aim is to bring these to market fast, but developments are ongoing. Those are our primary segment of clients. We do, however, also work with the printing supply chain. We work through partners who have complementing technologies to ours on joint customer opportunities. A lot of interesting opportunities in the Internet of Things sector. Really crucial there is to minimize power consumption. People hate recharging these devices that are smart with electronics inside. So that's a common theme in a lot of them. So that's our customers today. Going forward, our aim is to transfer this technology to the hands of the printing industry, the printed electronics industry, so that they can produce for their clients. And as said, here we train these companies to work with our technology, and then our business model expands to selling these inks. At the end of the day, our core value is in the inks. Ines, Carlos, do you have anything to add to that? But that was a great question, and I'm happy we had a chance.
Actually, the question is still continuing. There is another part. So, what is our business model and how we do revenue?
Again, another very good question, and to clarify how we are generating revenue today is through the system integration services, working with partners to deliver to the end clients, the brand owners. It's a service business where we help with the design, with the prototyping, with the first manufacturing of these devices. So that's where our revenue and business model is today. But as I described, as we expand, we transfer more and more towards licensing, but more importantly, to selling those inks. As well, now that we're sitting here with the designer who's heading our design tool developments, also the toolkits, the tools that designers need to work with our technology. And all along having our brand attached to that to make sure that the quality is at the level required to go into these products. Again, I dominated, but anyone want to?
Yeah, I just want to highlight that we really want to deliver full solution to these potential end users, brand owners. So they don't want to care that they need to gather themselves the different components to get a functional system. And so this is what we can bring. So we have a small team, but multidisciplinary. So we have people with different backgrounds. We have a huge network, technology network. So we don't develop everything ourselves, but we know how, where and how and who to contact in order to get this complementary pieces that are required to reach the vision of our customers. And so this is where I think we have a great value to our potential and existing customers, to bring a working solution and not just delivering components.
Keep the mic, because I think the next question goes also to you. So how about colors?
Yeah, so that's an easy one. Of course, it's a recurrent question. So we are developing colors at this moment. So this is one of the tasks we are taking in Germany. We basically, maybe I can tell you about the strategy. So we don't intend to create new chemistries that can deliver different electrochromic colors, but we are having partnerships with, I would say, world leaders, scientists, which are themselves producing these new chemistries. One example is Professor Reynolds from Georgia Technology, which is one of the most well-known scientists producing electrochromic polymers with different colors. We are also working with Cardiff University, with a group of Davide Bonifaci, which is also a very, very smart organic chemist. And so we work with these experts that are synthesizing these new chemistries, and where we come is actually to validate those new materials in terms of the quality and the performance that allow them to be used in commercial and products. And actually where we come also to help to bring the materials from the lab to the production is on the formulation of the inks of the inks based on these new chemistries. So colors are coming.
Yeah, we have another question. This one comes from YouTube. So how many times or how many life cycles actually our displays can handle, and something about the energy consumption?
So the number of cycles that the display can operate depends a bit on the different architectures and the size of the display, and also how it's powered and how it's controlled. But basically it can range from tens of thousands of cycles up to 100,000 cycles, basically. And so you say.
Not to forget, we also have the black one-time activated ink as well, which we saw earlier demonstrated with Ines dropping the box with the shock detector. And by the way, I want to say something. It may have been a bit difficult for you to see those demonstrators through this camera. So what we'll be doing at the very end of this broadcast, you'll get a pre-recorded video where you get to see what the color transitions are in the demonstrators that we were showing.
Well, about power consumption again, electrochromic technology, it's a really low power and low voltage technology. So it can be powered with 1 volt. Actually, we have some demonstrations where we power it with a lemon battery. So it's really low power and low voltage, which is very important for these more small format applications where you cannot have actually large batteries or whatever power source that could supply enough energy for more power-hungry systems like LEDs or even electrophoretic displays. So yeah, at the end, the exact number depends, of course, on the area and the size of the display. It's proportional to it, but I can guarantee that you won't find anything which consumes less power than an electrochromic display.
All right, I think those were excellent questions. Possibly there have been more, but we've been keeping you for roughly 50 minutes. I know there's a slight minute or so delay before this reaches you, but it's been excellent to have you join and view us. I'm melting here with the suit on right now, but this is a beautiful country to come and visit. I invite all the clients to come here. We have the facilities to work with you on the projects. I think now is a good time to start getting the team in. We still have some people that we haven't introduced. I'm trying to spot who we haven't introduced. Of course, not all our team is here today, but I just want to make sure that we capture everyone. Katarina, say hi to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
She's in our administrative side looking at our finances. Very, very important thing to keep control of our finances. Carlos, he came up from the cave. Say hi.
Hi to everyone.
Carlos is in the electronic side, working the magic when we're designing the electronic system. And then Marlene, who is our office manager.
Hi everyone.
And I think that everyone here is grateful for you to have attended. Especially we send our love to all our families. You know, we spend a lot of time here at work. You're great, you're forgiving and understanding that we're so excited. This is also family, but of course you're most important. So all the love to the families. And of course, all the love to, again, the customers. We now have the facility where we've scaled up production. Let's scale together. So, say hi to everyone. Bye. Thanks for watching.